first extended hit window. My ticks were pretty good. Alright, somehow that was good enough. I mean, if that post-solo act almost got to 0.8, I know I can get 311 on this. But just getting first, man, this was fucking rough. I would just really need to figure out that first act and be able to get some consistency out of it. Because as I am now, it's just way too hard to push everything after Act 1 on runs that I do get it. I usually miss Act 2 just because I'm afraid of pushing the whammy. And again, that also has to do with not having the engine timings in general very ingrained. So I think I'm just going to need to be a lot better at this engine before that happens. But it's definitely on the table for me, I think. But anyway, glad to at least finally get a first on this. That is so fucking irritating. This has to be my best pace. Not by much. Yeah. I fucking hate this game, man. Nope, that sucked. It's garbage anyway. Fuck my life. I don't think this has a chance. Ticks. Not as good as I could have hoped for. Fuck. not even that close, man. It's a good score, but not what I'm looking for. Just hitting that solo in an all squeeze, well, on this path run is a good improvement, but man, that's where I was really hoping to avoid missing this by ticks. But that's rough, because if I missed it by that much with that last act, the post-solo act also wasn't amazing, but I don't know how much better I'm going to be able to get on it with nerves. Again, good run, but it bites. No, worse than last time. I don't think I'm going to keep doing this, man. I don't even really know where my ticks went that wrong. That's 2 all squeeze runs. It sucks, but yeah, I just... Maybe some time I'll get like some crazy motivation to push for 311k, but I'm just too far away to justify grinding it like this. Again, still a good score. Just need to learn to be happy with that for a change. Wow, that is fucking terrible. I just dropped. What the fuck? Man, I told myself I should stop doing this, but I know it's fucking possible and it's just gonna kill me. Nope. Fuck, that front end was probably terrible. The whammy just wasn't great either. This fucking sucks. is either really good or really bad. I'm feeling rich. I guess it was good. Oh my god, it's over. Wow, this was such a huge pain in the fucking dick hole. How many 310.9s was that? Like 10? Good god, man. I don't even think that last act was particularly good. My ticks were just so much higher, specifically going into the solo act front end. They were like 30 to 50 higher than my average, which really leads me to believe that there was a spot, likely in the whammies for the solo, that I was just constantly dropping a lot of ticks for some reason, even though I was trying to be very conscious of it. So I really don't know what the deal was with that. My ticks going into the break were good. Not quite my best, like 16 or so below my best, but very solid. Anytime I can get 194k there, I'm pretty satisfied, even though that's probably minus 100 from what's actually possible to that point, just because ticks are just so fucking volatile in this song, specifically on all the whammy phrases. I just reviewed the last 3 acts. The solo act, Star Power, ended frame perfect on when I hit the back end, but I hit the back end pretty late. Trying to hit that back end early is just like begging to miss. But the whammy afterwards wasn't very good, and my last act overall seemed average to decent. So God knows where like all these ticks are hiding in this song. But regardless, this is still an incredibly hard score to get. I mean, it should kind of go without saying, but just the FC of this is very difficult, and I never really got to a point where it was just like clockwork to actually hit the solo. But combining the general difficulty with the nerves past Act 1 and 2, especially on a decent tick run to the break, of where this really crosses a boundary of like annoyingly difficult. And of course, those nerves shoot farther through the roof after you hit the just the strumming or the fast part in the solo. Try not to choke the sweeps, and then trying to get good early whammy, good front end on the post-solo act, and following that all the way through. Man, yeah, this is brutal. Another section that I really started to have trouble with, pretty much only after getting the first couple 310.9s, was the section right before the solo with those really fast blue, orange, blue trills. On my first record of this, the 310 780 something, I was using the hopos on that just because at that time that was really early on in this game. This might have been like the 3rd song that I did. I was using a lot more hopos in general just because I wasn't used to the engine. But then when I came back to this, I was just strumming it because in general I was just strumming a lot more stuff. It seemed more consistent. But yeah, at some point I just started missing on those, which was obviously incredibly frustrating being past the difficult squeezes. And in this final session here of about an hour, which included like 2 or 3 310.9s, I switched back to using the hopos and never missed it. So while in general I'm more biased towards strumming things at this point, being way more familiar with the game engine, I do think using hopos still has a place in like, not necessarily optimal play, but just in consistency, perhaps, for human execution. I don't know. But yeah, that was a big relief to get past that really annoying hurdle that just popped up seemingly out of nowhere. Because I went the longest time while strumming it without missing it, but then once it started, It just became kind of a crapshoot coin flip whether I was even able to get past that, what should be completely innocuous section. Very similar situation, I guess, to what happened in the 6 444k grind, where I was missing the chord right after that long orange sustain in verse 2. A little more understandable here, but this song overall, it just reminds me a lot of Ballroom Blitz, just a very volatile ticks, high tempo, except that the difficult squeezes are at the start and the ticking acts are at the end in this one, instead of Ballroom Blitz, where it's the other way around. As for those first two acts, the first is definitely the more difficult and is just a pretty damn hard squeeze in general. I didn't understand it at all until I realized that you had to take advantage of the continuous first frame whammy on all of the sustains, which doing a single pump whammy, at least on that first red, is not able to accomplish, which would have been by far my preferred execution for it. That would have made performing those phrases way more straightforward. But even after figuring that out, it still took a while to hit it the first time, and the consistency was just utter garbage, which is why for that first record I just completely put it aside. If I got it, cool, but 95% of the time I wasn't. So no point in stonewalling myself behind that while I still was terrible at the solo and etc. etc. And even fast forward all this time later, where I've hit it at least 100 times, I still think it's very difficult. But at the same time, I think it's still kind of a crapshoot act because I'm pretty sure it's mostly reliant on, again, whether you're able to get that continuous whammy off each sustain. And to a certain extent, it's feasible to control that by just hitting the sustains as early as possible. But at least on that first red sustain, it's also dependent on when you input the, in my case, the second whammy for it, or the final whammy before the following strums begin. But overall, that phrase is just very difficult to execute properly, especially, again, while not being able to use that single pump whammy execution. And another note about it is, no matter how conscious I was of it and tried to keep everything in mind, I never was able to stop dropping ticks on that phrase with any semblance of consistency, first or second act. In review, it was mostly by fretting the yellow after either of the red sustains early, but I have a feeling I was dropping them in other places pretty consistently as well. And yeah, going back to the whammy methods, I'm pretty sure the reason I had such a better time executing the second act, maybe it's much more lenient timing-wise. There's way more whammy involved with it, so like making any assumptions on that front really isn't very useful. But it's because on that second phrase I was able to use the single whammy pumps, and like with the Psychobilly upper bound act, there's no way I would have been able to execute that without that method. It's just way easier to optimize multiple whammy phrases with that method. But thankfully, I can't imagine ever having a reason or an inkling to come back to this song, so I shouldn't ever have to worry about doing that first act star power phrase execution again. But even though I said before, there's plenty left on this, both in the acts themselves and just general tick dropping, this is still easily one of my very best scores in this game. And one final note, since I forgot to touch on it, I never tried the Nearly Ideal second act. While again, it was easier than the first act, the bigger squeeze second act was inconsistent enough. And just from all the whammy on that act, I can't imagine it would be very feasible at all. But who knows, probably should have at least tried it once just to get an idea, but whatever. I wasn't willing to throw away any post-first act runs to it, that's for sure. But anyway, even if I was able to get that and alleviate the strain of tick grinding, trying to hit the solo under that kind of pressure would be just about impossible anyway, so I really don't have any regrets about it. I was able to find 311k anyway.